Before we jump into the adventure, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Roll20. Roll20 is the virtual tabletop that we're using to make this game possible. It hosts the map, the dice roller, and all of our character sheets, and they've seen fit to include us in their Spotlight program, which not only will help raise awareness and help viewers find the channel, but also gives us access to the pro-level subscription and unlocks many of the features like dynamic lighting and many of the scripts that we use to bring our game to the next level. So if you have any questions about how to get started or are looking to improve your abilities with Roll20, do not hesitate to reach out and we will do what we can to help you. It's a really powerful tool and we're thankful for them for sponsoring this show. Welcome everybody to episode 8 of our Dragon of Icespire Peak adventure. Jamrel, why don't you go ahead and tell us everything that happened last time to catch up not only the audience, but more importantly, Zook.
All right, so last time we started off by entering a dragon barrow where we encountered some strange floating lights. Raytheon led the way in a rather disturbing manner as he took hold over and commanded these floating orbs. We maneuvered through the tunnels, battling briefly with the will-o-wisps until we came upon a crypt with 4 sarcophagi. We found a couple of magical items in them, including my brand new loot. Eventually, we came to a room that housed the skull of a dragon, upon which was mounted a finely crafted spear. Longtooth took the spear, but we were subsequently attacked by an invisible stalker. Not to brag, but after a few rounds of combat, I was able to stab it right in the eye. We continued our exploration of the tunnels and eventually encountered a skeletal horse. Raytheon was immediately drawn to the animal and befriended it, so he's got an undead horse. We decided we had pushed our luck and made our way back to camp where Zook had stayed with Tybor. Soon after our departure to the barrow, Zook and Tybor were approached by a centaur who warned of the dangers inside the barrow. He also tried to hire the group to deal with some more orcs. I believe the consensus is that we begin with this conversation as the rest of the group makes their way back from the barrow.
Yeah, so we are going to do a little bit of backtracking. I did some swipe cuts to like centaur puns and a few information drops that this Xanth the centaur gave to Zook, but I do want to give him a moment to actually... Yeah, Xanth, Xanth.
Right.
So this guy, you were sitting there and you had Tybor next to the cart and y'all are just hanging out. And Tybor's not sure if he's supposed to talk to you because he was basically told if he talks to certain people of the group, he might possibly die. So he's been a little on the like skittish side. Whether you're talkative or not, he's been on a little skittish side. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, this like massive centaur like walks out of the woods, and the first thing it says to you, and it's behind you when it says this, it just says, your friends aren't going into that barrow, are they?
So Zook will probably turn around and aim the crossbow like, oh, you scared me. You're still kind of scared me. What? He's never seen a centaur in his life. He's like, whoa. Hi.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cause a stir. I just thought it was imperative that I let you know that your friends could be heading into danger. The barrow seems to be haunted. Strange lights appear over it at night, and there's always interesting tales from anyone that goes down there to investigate it.
Well, I think they're kind of counting on danger when they're going down there, so we're good with that. I'll just wait here for them to come out. I'm Zook. This is Tybor, and this is Vincent.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got straight to business instead of an introduction. I'm Xanth. I fancy myself kind of a guardian of Neverwinter Wood. But the reason that I was approaching, besides giving you the warning, is if you were here and poking around the barrow, I assumed you were adventurers of sorts, and I could kind of use your help. There's been some orcs. They've been driven down out of the mountains or something, and they've joined league with these half-orc spellcasters that were never too much of a problem, but now with all these orcs at their beck and call, it's causing
half-orc spellcasters, you say?
Yeah, so they kind of dabble in, I don't want to say dark magic, but some of the stuff that's clearly just not quite on the level, and they're wizards and shape changers, and just
Shape
kind of
changers, you say?
they
Mm.
again, not really like druids, but they do have magics that let them change their form. And they've never been too much of a problem before. Like they kept to themselves in the forest, and nature found its balance. But now with all these orc warriors that are kind of assisting them, they're creating more of a nuisance than normal.
Oh my. Okay. I think we might be able to help you, but knowing my friends, they'll want something in return. So we need to work on that angle because I really want to help you. What are we going to tell them? What can we possibly give them in exchange for that help?
Let me read his little card here.
How about maybe we might do something really crazy soon, like fighting a dragon crazy. Any chance you'd be willing to help us with that?
The dragon has come down out of the mountains a couple of times. It's come from the south in the direction of the mountains that way, but it's also come from the east. I don't know how much you know about the area, but there's a mountain range out there, Star Metal Hills, and it's come from that direction a couple of times. It mostly comes from the south. I would be willing to help you fight it as long as it was here in my forest and causing trouble in my forest. But unfortunately, I can't really take up the adventuring life and set out across the wilderness to try and hunt this thing down. So I can't make that promise, even if I deal with, or even if you all help me deal with the orc infestation that I'm dealing with. There's always other things that require my attention here in the woods.
All right. I see. We'll try to talk with them and see what they think. Maybe. I'll tell you what. We met this person called Devira. She's a shapeshifter, and we had quite a tackle with her. If there's any chance she's involved with this, they will run straight to it. I can promise you that. They hate that woman.
What did she do that was so bad to your group?
She was a boar, and she shot lightning us. All sorts of crazy stuff.
Yep.
I think we have a good angle here. Zant. It's good.
Yeah, unfortunately, being pretty nomadic myself, I don't have much in terms of monetary reward. There's the do the right thing angle, but if you're saying that doesn't really groove well with your group, perhaps petty revenge will at least incite some motivation in them.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Definitely.
Okay. And then he's going to go on to tell you that the place where these orcs are, there's actually 2 different locations, but most of them are at this, there's a hill that's full of caves and tunnels, and there's a circle of standing stones where they've been performing their rituals, and he can't always keep an eye on them just with the sheer number that there are, but he's seen them doing some shamanistic type stuff, but not all of it is nature based. Some of it is dark magic.
So they sacrifice things and bring people from the dead and all sorts of crazy things.
All sorts of crazy things, I'm afraid, my new friend. And he's going to kind of he won't sit down, but instead of you having to turn around and look over your shoulder and have spun around, he'll walk around so that he's now at your little campfire circle thing with you and Tybor, who's not said anything this whole time, but has just been doing the back and forth with the conversation, and Vincent the ox, who just doesn't care and is having fun just chewing away over there.
All right. Oh, Okay, let's wait for them to return. We'll probably be back soon.
Okay. I don't know how long we'd say that your group was down in the barrow. Couldn't be much more than an hour or so. There was only like 3 rooms. They fought a couple of light balls and one invisible kidney punching ghost. But so call it like an hour and 15 minutes. And if you listened to the replay, as you're sitting there, you turn around once you hear them approaching, and it's like Rathian's in the middle, and he's on top of a skeletal horse for some reason. And then you have Longtooth on one side with this massive, like, new spear that's all wicked metal and like a gleaming tip that's got kind of a chameleon effect going to it. Jamrel's like power strumming a new lute that's like super fancy. Loom, are you wearing the necklace? Or did you just have it with you?
I would imagine Loom may have placed it on just out of convenience.
Okay, then Loom is sporting some new bling, and Cazador cannot believe she's still associated with these people.
Cazador is injured. End of list.
Yes, correct.
So as you guys go up, he'll go like,
Hey guys, we have a new friend here.
Everyone
he's big.
looks at that guy, and he becomes the centaur of attention. It's funny because he got so mad he backed up into Valerie's camera.
I know! God damn it!
But yeah, that's where we start. We start with all of y'all and the
Seal,
the centaur.
I'm sorry, I got to break character. Is your DMing prep sitting around thinking about puns all week long? Is that what prep is for you?
No, that's actually the title of this chapter in the actual fucking adventure. Here, I'll show you guys.
That's kind of crazy.
Wow.
We see Dragon Barrow, and that's it.
Scroll down to the header where it talks about the.
That must be DM only, because I can't see it.
Oh, fine. Here, let me do.
I trust you.
There.
You.
You jerks.
Oh, you got to pop it back up for us.
I see it.
There we go. Look
These
at
kids.
that centaur of attention.
Painful.
They set you up.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. So what do y'all do?
Oh, how fascinating, Zook.
I'm
Hello.
really glad you're all alive. He's been telling me quite a bit of scary stories about this place you just entered, and I was like thinking, maybe I should go in and help you, or maybe I should just wait here. I didn't know, but you're here, so that's fine.
Well, it was a near miss. Yes, we were gravely injured, but alas, here we are.
Here we are.
Greetings, I am a Loom. I have not ever had occasion to meet a creature like yourself.
A centaur?
She bows, yeah. Oh,
He
a
says
centaur. Yeah.
that. We mostly keep to ourselves. Many of the larger cities aren't exactly designed for people of our sorts, and as I was telling your friend here, I live much more of a nomadic kind of life here in the forest, so I've never had much reason to go down as far as Phandalin or west as far as the city on the coast, so I don't see much of people, and people don't see much of me, I'm afraid.
the forest, you say?
Camera flash cuts to the giant forest behind the centaur, like 15 feet away.
Why are you out here by yourself? Why have you come to us?
I was just discussing with your companion here that I'm looking for help. I initially came to give warning not to go down to the barrow, but when he said that the group of you were more than capable of handling whatever dangers were therein, I figured that If that's the case, then you might be able to help me with a problem that I'm having.
Orcs. A lot of orcs.
More
I think-
orcs.
Orcs
You know,
and
I-
half-orcs.
I think the dragon drove away most of the tribes from the mountains and the hills, and they're now just scattering all over. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it like that.
There's definitely been an increase in the full-blooded orc population around here. I haven't ventured much out of the forest. This particular group seems to have come up from the area of Connieberry. I'll send y'all over to the map.
Connieberry was destroyed. No? Was that?
Yeah, that's the like abandoned one.
Yeah, on the way to Butterskull, right?
Yeah, I was wanting to make sure you weren't talking about a thunder tree.
How many orcs are we talking about?
That is a great question. I wonder if he actually knows that.
Seal, I want to direct your attention to the in-game chat as you are role-playing the centaur.
Oh no. Sorry, I always miss the best Cazadoring because it happens over there. I'm like juggling 3 screens and 4 pop-out windows full of centaur information.
Do undead
will not
horses
be
really need to
ignored.
graze?
I should have read the barrow to see if that horse has a name, or if Rathian's riding on a horse with no name.
That's the one.
Yeah, the orcs. He says there's at least a dozen of them, and they came up from the area of Connieberry.
That crap was not in the module. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that wasn't in the module at all.
Oh man.
It's fun though, because now y'all can tell Rathian screw him and the horse he rode in on.
Boom.
So there's orcs, and they came from over kind of near Butterskull Ranch and came into the woods and started being jerks about stuff.
And there's also half-orcs who do very, very dark magic, apparently.
Yeah, they're like, they're very animalistic and tribal, and it's almost like more shamanistic than druidic, but there's a taint about them. They dabble with dark magics, and their shape changing is more about controlling the power rather than being like one with the forest itself.
Sounds like someone we've met.
Did he actually answer my question about how many orcs? I missed that in the chat.
He said at least a dozen that he's seen.
A dozen.
He will clarify that that's not full-blooded orcs. That's a mixture of orcs and half-orcs, if you're a discerning sort.
Have you... Is there a chance they're just passing through? I mean, your people are nomadic people, or are they settled down on your lands?
I'm mostly... Wait, they're passing through, or he's passing through?
Are they just passing through? If you're a nomad, if you're nomads, and they're just passing through, can't they just wander off, or are they settling?
No, they've very much set up a base of operations. There's 2 different locations where they've mostly been staying. There is the hill that I was telling your friend about here. It's a kind of a low rolling hill, but it is big enough that there are several caves dotted around the sides of it. I'm not sure if they're natural or if the orcs dug them at some point, but then atop it there is a circle of standing stones. But then there's another smaller area where they've kind of set up a camp.
Cazador is going to kind of peek around from this horse's haunches where she is probably smelling him. And
He hasn't noticed, by the way. I rolled a check for that, and he is completely oblivious.
cool. He's an animal, so she's might treat him like an animal. I'm not sure. But I digress. She's going to sort of peer around from his haunches and say, "Do they patrol? Do you know where they travel?"
He's gonna have to like do that, like turn sideways to actually be able to see you, kind of thing. And he's going to adjust himself now so that you are not behind him, because I'm the DM and I say that he gets nervous like a horse does. and he's going to adjust himself and say, yeah, they kind of travel all throughout the woods. They have scouts. I don't know if they're looking for anything particularly or whether they're just looking for food and supplies and stuff, but you can find them all over Neverwinter Wood, not just near this circle of stones.
This circle of stones, are these stones that they erected, or have the stones always been there?
The stones have been there for some time. It is not a new construction. We're talking like an ancient circle of standing stones. I don't know if there was some other religion or ritual that used that location and the orcs came upon it, or whether the orcs have always kind of been there but haven't been a problem until recently.
I am always drawn to places of power. Perhaps these spellcasters you speak of similarly were drawn to the power of this circle.
There are definitely some places in the woods that I don't know if they're ley lines or if there's other importance to them, but there are definitely some places I would call places of power in Neverwinter Wood.
Oh.
Well, I'm very interested to explore those. But I think the more concerning factor is what has driven these orcs out of the hills in the first place.
Well,
Probably a dragon.
It
I
must
have-
be the dragon.
caught sight of a dragon circling.
Is that where it's made its lair then? Perhaps?
He'll let you know the last time he saw the dragon was 5 days ago.
Either they were driven out of the mountains or they came to take these stones. It could be either or.
True.
If they're using these foul magics, and is there another kind? I don't know, but maybe they maybe
He gets looks from a few of us,
and you guys all know he doesn't care.
right?
He doesn't care about those looks. Maybe they've come to claim this place of power for dark reasons.
Just kind of, Jammer walks over to Longtooth and kind of pats him on one of his open wounds. Just like, oh, I think there's some pretty good magic out there, friend. And, if they were looking to just take these stones away, they could just knock them down the hill and be done with it. And then why would they set up camp?
I'm not saying take the stones away, take control of this place of power, right?
Oh,
It's some
yes,
magical
okay.
place.
That's fair. I'm totally with you there.
Well,
What do you wanna
regardless,
do?
well,
While the group of y'all are talking about weird magics, the centaur is going to ask Cazador if she's spent any time in Neverwinter Wood, and note that she has a bit of a wild look about her.
I have not. I'm not from this place. We have gone into your woods to fight insects at a logging camp and tangle with some horrible orc woman. But other than that, no, I am not from here.
Horrible orc women definitely sound like what's on the agenda if the group of y'all are willing to help. If you were up by the logging camp, did you come from the west, or did you go around and approach from the hunting lodge that's out there?
We came in from, I guess, it would be the north, right?
Yeah,
No,
you would have taken
west.
the west along the wizard.
Right, but
river.
we entered the forest. We went west along the river. We entered the forest from the north, heading south into the woods.
The river is in the middle of the woods, but yes,
I'm a ranger. I know my directions.
it's true.
we have not ventured out to the logging cabin or the hunting cabin, you said.
Hunter's Lodge. Yes.
Hunter's Lodge. Is there a reason for us to go there?
No, he'll point over to the supply cart and say, normally when folks come from town, they bring in supplies to the logging camp. They basically use it as an excuse to swing by the Hunter's Lodge and have a couple of drinks and spend the night there instead of having to camp in the middle of the woods.
We have our own hunter's lodge.
Got it.
Not in those woods.
Plus, we still have to get this scumbag home. He points over towards Harbin.
Tybor.
Tries to make
Tybor.
Tybor tries to make himself as small as possible, which is saying something considering that he is between a Rathian on a horse and a centaur who are now directly opposite each other at this campfire.
That is correct. We already have an arrangement. we must see it through.
Once we've made sure that Mr. Tybor makes it back to Phandalin safely, I have no objection to at least coming to take a look. This stone circle intrigues me.
Well, I'm not too keen on the idea of leaving the woods and heading to town with you. But if you were willing to travel to town, deal with your prior commitments, and meet me back at the edge of the forest, we could either meet at the southern edge of the forest in 3 days or near Canaberry at the edge of the woods there.
The centaur is currently being stroked.
I love that I have a narrator.
in 5 days. You know that, like, not an actual mom slap when the kid's like reaching for something at the cash register or whatever. Like, you pet his fur and he like takes half a step to the side, and so like you step forward and you go to pet him again, and he like kind of shoos you. But like he keeps talking about like, we could meet in 3 days, and then there's another shot of like the stroke, and he just like he doesn't even look, he just does the finger slap. Or 5 days at Canaberry.
How long will it take us to return to Phandalin from here? Do we know, friends?
Yeah, let me jump back over to the map so I don't quote you
We
wrong.
do know.
We do.
Everyone looks at Longtooth, probably.
Right, exactly.
Almost 2 days, probably.
It's 45 miles direct, or no less, like 35 miles direct.
Yeah, and you can travel 24 in a day, so you get there on the second day.
Day and a
then
half,
you could bebop around town for half a day, sleep in a real bed if you wanted, and then it would take you basically a day and a little bit to get to the edge of the woods, or 3 days to get to Canaberry. Well, like 2 and change to get to Canaberry.
Yeah, I'd be okay with sleeping in a real bed because Rathian came out of that barrow with more holes than when he went in.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. One night of good rest for all of us would probably do us well. And you may recall that Alum doesn't actually sleep, so it's kind of probably odd that she says that.
So, meet you at the southern edge of the forest in 3 days?
I'll ping on the map real quick. You can meet him there in 3 days,
Okay.
or up here at Canaberry in 5.
If we don't see you at the forest in 3 days, we'll see you at Canaberry in 5.
Okay. And unless y'all have anything else for him, he will start to head into the woods.
Bye.
Thank you, and be safe.
And to you as well. Travel safe. Keep an eye on the sky, of course. And watch out for shape-shifting orcs. And he gives you a finger gun and walks into the woods.
We all look at Alum just like, vengeance.
Oh.
Someone roll a d20.
Oh.
Yeah.
We don't think it was
Sure seems like it.
Vera. Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh.
Perception checks from the group as y'all travel on the first day of your trip back to Phandalin.
Oh, I probably need to open my character sheet.
All that role playing, none of this dice rolling.
Well, let's see.
That's how it's done, right there.
Yep.
Oof. 2 missed crits.
Longtooth sees it, and Rathian sees it, and Jamrel sees it. As you guys and gal get right around here on your first day of the journey, you see a black shape in the sky off to the west over the road.
Oh boy.
Take some cover, people.
Do you choose to skirt into the trees at the sake of lost time, especially as you get this cart, or keep an eye on it and press?
I'm good for the trees. We have a half a day to burn inside the town anyway, so we can burn a little bit of time being safe here.
We could always use Tybor as bait, and then we could ambush it from behind.
You do already have the signed letter, so quest.
Speaking of Tybor, I'm going to sit in the back of the cart with him during this ride and just run an experiment. Take a handful of coins out of my purse and just throw them at him and say, count these.
like when you say throw them at him, are they on the floor of the cart? Like,
No,
does he
just
get
kinda
a handful of change into the
Toss
chest?
Yeah, exactly. Toss him into his chest lap area.
Okay, so he like
I'd like him back too.
he's shocked and appalled first of all, and he like you're in a bouncing like cart because y'all ain't on a road, right? You're on rocky grassland and stuff, so stuff's bouncing. He scrapes up what he can off of his lap, but then he gets that one that like goes under his leg, and then he's reaching to get one that fell off and stuff, and he's got them all, and he grabs one of the boxes and he slides it over a little closer to him, and he goes 1, 2,
Yeah, I thought so.
3.
One copper piece. Two copper pieces. We could count.
Exactly. Just confirming a theory.
He says there's 14.
Perfect.
Can you not count?
Oh no. It's been a while. I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay. And he gives it back to you in a stack of 5, and then a stack of 4.
Oh, see,
Being very careful
There you go.
to not just throw it at you in a moving cart,
Perfect.
lest he be murdered by Rathian.
Speaking of Rathian, is he riding his horse?
Yeah, he'd just be clip clopping alongside the cart.
So, yeah. Zuka's
His horse to
taking
the
some
road.
distance from that horse, and, like, not getting anywhere close near this thing.
What was that thing called that I was going to get for it in town?
Oh.
Horse blanket.
It's not barding. It starts with a C, I want to say.
It's like a horse hoodie.
I mean, is it? It's more like a horse snuggie.
Yeah.
But yeah, plans to camp for the night. Do you press on for the full day and then camp, or do you get to the end of the woods and then stop and camp there?
At some point, probably after the centaur had left, before that evening, I think Alum would have approached Zook. But we can say, for the sake of time, it happens on the road. Whenever she realizes it, she would at some point go, oh, and like take the necklace off from around her neck and say, and sort of hold it out in her hands to Zook and say, Zook,
Yes.
we found this in that barrow, and while
What?
it's quite lovely, I think it's actually rather powerful. And well, you've gifted such wonderful creations to us, but perhaps this would suit you. Would you like to try it?
Thank you. Sure, I'll try it.
He takes his hand, like, takes the necklace.
Oh, they're so pretty.
He inspects it very, very closely.
Perhaps you can use it as a model for some future creation.
Does he have any idea what the thing is?
Well,
Make an intelligence or an arcana check.
We know that it's evocation school of magic, at least.
Yes, it's definitely magical. For that, we are sure of.
It's some sort of magical necklace.
No.
Give you a little bit of time to think on it. Then, sorry, I got like multiple chat windows going on here. People are making it's one hit wonder day, so I'm getting lots of one crit wonder day jokes in Twitch chat. It seems familiar, but you need a moment. There's a lot going on right now. Scary skeleton horses, handfuls of coins being thrown in the cart. Like things are happening. So if you take a moment to like think on it, or if you try again later. You can lock it down for show.
Yeah,
unless you
Zook
use
will
magic.
probably identify it later on. So, oh, well, thank you, Alum. Thanks. I'll try to use it to the best of my ability. If we have a moment here, what's up with the that thing? Penny points at the horse that Rathian rides on.
Where'd you get the coconuts?
Alum, what is that? It's really scary.
I didn't catch what Zook was asking me about.
Oh.
Apologies.
Skeleton horse.
He was pointing at the horse, like scared of it. You can see it on his face, like,
Alum, what is that?
Um,
I've been afraid to ask.
I. And she kind of leans towards Zook and whispers. She says, "Something is changing. Rathian has been acting peculiar. In that arrow, he found apparently this skeletal horse, and it just seems to like him.
Just found it like that? Didn't call it from the dead, or
I don't know. We were in another chamber for a moment, and when we joined him, the horse was already there. I'm afraid you'll have to ask him.
Ask him. It's a bit scary, though. Unsettling.
Yes, it has me a little worried too, to be honest.
Very well.
Let's
Thank you
keep
for
an
the
eye on
gift.
him. Oh,
Yeah,
you're quite welcome.
we'll do that. All right.
All right, gang. What's the plan?
Camp in the forest.
Camp in the forest.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a D100 from Rathian. You guys are free to say what you do for your nightly routine, but I don't have anything for you on this side of the screen currently. Otherwise, you wake up the next morning and are free to head off to Phandalin.
Not quite yet.
Oh, wait, we had a quarter on a roleplay moment.
Yeah, Cazador is going to fall in line, walking beside Rathian. She normally kind of zigzags ahead of everyone because she's got so much movement that she takes that up by sort of serpentining around, and instead just sort of falls in line next to him and doesn't really look over at him, just keeps walking straight ahead and will say, "What came over you?"
A very long few moments is going to pass before Rathian is going to reply. You can tell that he heard you because, like, he kind of turns his head a little bit. I think we're getting an echo, by the way. He turns his head a little bit and kind of looks down at you and looks back towards the road. And after you kind of get to the point where you're like waiting, like, okay, what is he going to say? He just responds with, "I don't know," and just keeps on going.
What did you do to the others to make them not care about what happened to you?
I think that one's on them. He just sort of chuckles, knowing or enjoying the fact that he kind of intimidates people naturally.
Very well. And then she's just going to continue on her normal walking path.
As we start to get close to Phandalin, Longtooth will sidle up next to Rathian. So this is not a horse, you realize. It's a carcass.
Sorry.
I was totally muted for my last two comments. I apologize to anyone watching this in the past.
It's hard to be dour Rathian when I so enjoy what other people say.
Is it the butterflies or the song? Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I'm thinking we leave the carcass at my lodge outside of town. You can stay with it, or you can come with us into town, but it's probably more headache than it's worth. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. My plan was to tie it up somewhere outside of town and go get something to cover it up. Surely somewhere in town's got a big enough blanket.
Certainly. I'm glad we're agreed. So we'll swing by my hunting lodge on the way in.
Okay.
And leave Boney the horse there.
His name is Forgotten to Time.
Like that's the full name.
That's a long name.
That's a cool name.
Bot for short.
Yeah. It's like the name of a SpaceX landing platform.
And
So you leave the horse at Casa de la Longtooth.
it's a carcass. I refuse to call it a horse.
Give it a lick. It tastes just like raisins.
I'm not going to test the theory.
Does it make like otherworldly whinnying sounds? Does it snort even though it doesn't have nostrils?
Yeah, so when you met it down in the barrow, it did make those noises. I cannot attempt to repeat them here because I'm live and don't get to do a sweet Protoss voice echo, but same thing with like your Mind Flayer test. Like you hear it, but then there's that like that reversed noise that leads up into the actual sound, and it's fainter than you would expect, almost as if it's not entirely coming from the horse, but like you were hearing it from somewhere else. But you leave the carcass at Casa de la Longtooth and can enter town from the south. And when you come up, do you guys need the Fanlin map at all?
No.
I don't think so.
So you come into town from the south, and the first thing on your right there is the town hall, and the inn is straight ahead of you, and then you are free to do whatever you need to do. You have the logging quest to turn in, and that's it right now, because you guys did not take up the escort the guy to the mine quest yet.
Well, Tybor, do you want to go straight to Harbin and see how he's faring?
Sure. I haven't seen him in quite a couple of months. Running the logging camp, I mostly stayed up there and waited for supplies to be delivered. It wasn't much worth the trip all the way down here unless we had a couple of days where, especially in the winter, where we could get away. So Tybor will come with you to the town hall.
Perfect. Well, with two of you, at least you'll count twice as fast.
You say that.
I'd like to give him one more spook right before he leaves. Just
What do you do to Tybor?
bump into him or something, catch him with a shoulder.
Sure, give me an intimidation check. Just for funsies.
Such a bully.
Okay. This is like...
That's a 20 for anyone listening.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an exact movie reference, but I don't got one. But where the bully like beats up the kid on the playground, and then he's like half bent over as he runs away and is like kicking up dust. He gets like a solid couple of steps away, but then he realizes he was waiting on Jamrel, so he doesn't know what to do. So he kind of halfway does a half jog for a few more steps.
Before he gets out of my range, I'm going to grab him by the collar of his shirt and pull him in real close. You never forget a single one of their names.
He doesn't even say anything. He just kind of like... You can hear his...
Walter will insert himself between the two of them.
Casual reminder, you're literally in the center of town.
I'm aware.
Like you're in the town square.
I hope his brother was watching.
You can't see through an oak door.
I want everybody to know. Like I I want to make enough of a spectacle that they know something's up with this guy, so that whispers start spreading around the town.
Roll a d6 and a d4.
Am I falling in a hole again?
Picture's worth 1,000 swords. There are 6 people in total, not that you care to look, but there are at least 6 people, varying from like 10-year-old girl to like woodcutter, that notice this scene and like they're not going to interject themselves. Y'all are a half dozen heavily armed adventurers, but people definitely take note.
Longtooth leans up to Rathian. If this is you on the lam, you suck at it.
Truly, what has gotten into you, friend? Just relax a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I gotta go get something to drink.
Been happening a lot lately.
He's just gonna sort of walk away from the conversation, head towards the bar.
Copy. Who all is going to the quest board and front door of the town hall?
I nominate anyone other than Longtooth.
Okay. Tybor and Gemral and anybody?
Alum had been, but I think at this point, like after sort of watching that exchange, she is more focused on Rathian, and like a short time after he like when he's like probably 30-40 feet away or something like that, I think she's gonna slowly follow after him.
General makes
we'll
eye
probably-
contact.
And she doesn't actually say anything to anyone else.
Like how Gemral and Zook always end up having to deal with Harbin. Like nobody else takes a turn. It's always the same squad.
That's probably
Alum has tried, but
You've been there in the past, but like there's never been like somebody who was like this is my first time getting to see the Harbin exchange.
Oh, that's right.
It's always the same 2 guys like, oh, this dude.
So Zook will just like look at Rathian going into the tavern, look back at the lodge of Harbin, and like, fine, maybe later. And he'll join his friend. Yeah.
So is anyone going to the town hall then?
No,
It's just me. Oh,
No, he'll join Jamro.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying you were joining a loom. Clarification.
Gemral,
Okay.
head of
I'm actually
operations.
falling in with a loom.
Got it. Just so I can give y'all some handouts to read while roleplay continues. Jamral and Zook, you walk up to the door and there are 3 pieces of paper on the quest board, plus the one that you left before. So I'm going to go ahead and show them to you and then let me know if you need me to narrate how it looks and how it's written. But just so that people can read, fun times, you have these 3 pieces of paper.
You can assume that Zook copies it and shows it later to the party if you want to read them out.
Copy that. So you have a quest that talks about orcs, a quest that talks about a dragon barrow, a quest that talks about escorting a dude to a mine, and a quest that talks about some kind of fortress in the hills to the south. Cool.
You just crumple that dragon barrel one up.
Yeah, well, pretty much just... Yeah, because he's not going to pay us, so we'll leave that one.
Leave it on the board. Let somebody else.
Somebody else can go.
Somebody else can go fight like the 3 will-o-wisps, and then all of the treasure is gone.
I'm pretty sure all of those 6 people saw that amazing spear that Longtooth is carrying in the center of town, so I think we're probably fine on this.
Okay.
Life's lessons.
Anyway,
Okay. I'm gonna write an NPC for y'all to feel bad about later. Like there's gonna be like some 15-year-old kid on his first adventure who's gonna save the family farm from this dragon that dies to those will-o-wisps for nothing.
well,
Yep, that sounds about right.
It was a good life lesson, though.
Let's be clear. If they died of the will-o-wisp, they weren't going to kill a dragon. So that's fine.
I know that, and you know that.
you know, Jamro loves the environment, but I just feel like it's not his job to clean up the trash, you know? Tybor will let him know. We'll figure it out. Anyways, up to the door. Tybor, what do you normally do here?
I'm normally not here. I'm normally at the logging camp. I don't. When I come into town, I don't normally have to meet him at his place of work because I'm visiting as family. So we go to his house.
For some reason, I had assumed that he lived here. Anyways, let's keep going.
Tybor will like start to point at a house when you say anyways, and he like catches himself and is like, yes. He lives, and he points at a house. I'll show you on the map. But he indicates the house in which is the
one labeled Harbin Wester's house?
Yep,
Yes.
that one.
I see it.
It's off to your right.
So he does come out at some point. So that's good to know.
I mean, he lives in a house. If he's barricaded himself up in there, I don't know when.
Or maybe he has a tunnel that connects the two.
Yes, that probably does.
So do you knock on the door?
Yep. Knock on the door.
I'm a dragon. Fear me.
Make an intimidation check. Or at least a sarcasm check.
All right. Intimidation. That would be here.
13.
You hear some scrambling inside, and then you hear him just say, well, if you are a dragon, just know that I am much too frail and bony to make a good meal. You might have better luck elsewhere. And
Dragons don't actually sound like that.
Tybor's just like watching this exchange very confusedly. Oh,
We finished some of the quests on the board.
oh, you're the same group from before.
Yes. Come on now. You're just too
Oh.
gullible, friend.
Well, what have you brought?
We've brought your half-brother, Tybor.
Oh, and then you hear Tybor. He's like, yeah, they brought me back. Things didn't really go well at the logging camp and in the last week or so. So no real point in delivering the supplies because we don't need them now. And then Harbin's like, well, is everything okay? Are you all right? I'm doing that weird guy talking to himself thing. And Tybor's like, yeah, a little shook up. Things haven't really got better since the folks who rescued me aren't exactly. And then he realizes that y'all are listening to the conversation. And he's like, yeah, things are all right. Should I just meet you at your house? Or, and he kind of starts to ease away from this conversation. Gregory, are you pinging the map on purpose, sir?
Yep. Sorry.
You got something?
Just for my own benefit, where's the town hall and his house?
Copy. I'm gonna have him start counting out pieces of gold to y'all, but I am not role playing it. So feel free to anybody else do things at this point. He starts paying you for to deliver the supplies mission. Remember that y'all need to give the cart and stuff back to Barthen, and you have a handful of new quests and a paladin that definitely needs to get his drank on.
And does he go straight to the Stonehill Inn?
Yep, he makes a beeline right from the square right to the counter.
So just before that, how much was it? Sorry to interrupt you. How much did he pay us?
Logging camp was 100 gold pieces.
100 gold pieces.
He will count it out in platinum, though.
All right. Very well. Carry on.
So
y'all are paid the 10 platinum, and you have 4 quests now, I think. Well, no, because one's the Dragon Barrow. So you got 3 quests. Fortress to the south, Miner Guy, Woodland Manse, and
Centaur
the
thing.
Centaur Guy. Yep.
So Illum would essentially follow Rathian and she's just watching him, and would follow him into the inn.
He will pretty much without words walk into the inn, sort of like raise a finger to the barkeep who already knows what he's there for, and just sort of belly up to the corner of the bar, trying to stay away from anybody around him, and just sort of head down into his glass and just start trying to forget.
The barkeep, whose name currently escapes me, he's going to... Y'all have had this exact interaction before, so he finishes who he's dealing with, and he sets a glass down, and he starts to pour you a glass, and then he walks over, and he doesn't say anything at first. He just sets the glass down, and then he goes back to dealing with the person who was at the counter. At the bar, rather.
As he's turning around, I'll give him one of those classic movie, leave the bottle.
He kind of looks you up and down, and you're very clearly like fresh from the road, and you still have your sword holes and everything. Yep. And he's like, fair enough. And he sets the bottle down. Are you paying attention to anything else that's happening in here, or are you like in the zone? No,
he's pretty much zoned out. Like he's trying to recover lost blood, and he's sort of coming to terms with what he went through as well. So he's looking to get drunk, like blackout, forget everything happened drunk.
Seal, you said we got a long rest in at the edge of the forest, right, that night?
Yep.
All right, so although we look rough from the road, we're recovered.
Yeah,
technically healed.
He's technically at full health, but like y'all also technically did not do much to unsword his armor. So
yeah, like there's a considerable amount of blood on his gear.
I can take care of that.
Yeah.
Technically, I can fix the armor.
Indeed. I think with Zook and Illum working together between mending and Zook's skills, he's not an armorer per se, but I still think we could manage to piece it back together.
I still feel like even if y'all healed him and stitched up his armor, that like Rathian wasn't gonna like disrobe to go wash it in a creek somewhere.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, he's probably still bloody and gory and yeah.
He's way too excited about the fucking horse.
That's part of his charm.
So and Cazador was coming with Illum?
Yeah, she was just kind of falling in line next to Illum.
So noticing that, I think Illum would definitely have something to say to Cazador. How long have you known Rathian?
7-8 months.
And have you noticed a change in him?
Do you mean what happened to him at the barrow? Yes, that is a major change.
That's a happy pupper.
Happy doggy. So, yes, I mean, just in these few short days of my knowing him, he seems deeply troubled.
He is. I asked him what came over him. He doesn't know.
Yes, I suspected as much. Well, she kind of like lets her statement sort of fall and then just goes inside the tavern a moment later.
You yourself seem less distracted. Don't let this be another thing that births you.
No, actually, your words the other evening, I have taken them to heart. And I am choosing to embrace the powers that have been given to me, even though I would like to understand them more. I'm not afraid of them anymore, and I'm grateful. But I merely wish to... I don't know. There's something about Rathian's powers that...
You don't have to say it. I understand. They will be a detriment to us if he loses control of himself.
Well, interesting. You know, I have, I believe, a different view of these things than many people of the world. My thoughts are that power and energy are neutral. They are balanced, but one's choices may tip the balance.
I understand. The power within him is neutral. He is the darkness.
That may be. That may be. Hopefully we can be of assistance. Come, let us keep him company.
I will try.
So Illumina's gonna go in and go pretty much as soon as she sees where he's sitting, she'll go sit next to him and take a get something to drink. See if Cazador wants anything. If Cazador comes in with her.
I was actually going to find out what Longtooth was doing.
Okay.
I had the same thought.
You actually drink?
Well, yes, when it suits me.
Didn't strike me as the sort.
You know, in my land, the alcohol is different. Perhaps lighter, but also strangely stronger. The wine is fermented from rice, and here, she sort of I'm assuming you're drinking like a whiskey or something like that.
Yeah, whatever brown liquor,
some kind of bourbon, something. Yeah, right. So she points to that and says, "I have tried this, and it is potent." But very different than I am accustomed.
Yeah, I'm usually not drinking it for the enjoyment. As he kind of knocks back one and
I think that there's going to be a little bit of companionable silence for a bit. So if the others want to, like, if there's other things like Kaz talking to Longtooth and such, that's probably perfect.
As they sort of just drink silently, staring forward.
Yeah. Illum definitely wants to talk more, but I think she would allow it time.
Okay. We're going to flash to Longtooth sitting outside. Like as everyone first went in and the Zook Jamral, like, buddy cop squad, like, received y'all's reward. Longtooth is just sitting on the porch, and he's trying to smoke and drink in peace. But then one of these random, like, think of your stereotypical old crusty prospector guy, probably with a little bit of the floppy hat and like one tooth that's the little cockeyed and stuff, kind of sits down next to him and is quiet at first and drinks his own drink and doesn't say much. And then you kind of catch him look over at you, and when you look, he looks back and he takes another drink. And he's kind of ignoring you. And it's probably like 10 minutes before he finally gets up the nerve to be like, "So, adventurer, huh?"
So it would seem.
Haven't caught much sight of the dragon in these parts, have you?
We've had a few sightings, yes.
Yeah, you know where it's coming from? Where it's made its nest?
I suspect he'll be up in the colder parts of the mountain.
The ones to the south?
I suspect so.
Well, if you don't know, you can always try praying at the shrine of Timora over there for luck. It's always done me and mine good. Just saying. And he goes back to his drink.
Praying.
Uh,
I don't
and
give
we-
the gods much thought. I don't think the gods give me much thought, so it seems fair.
Does sound like a fair trade. And he'll kind of sit there for several more minutes, but we're gonna jump over to the buddy cop squad as they pull up to the front porch of Barthen's Provisions with Vincent and the cart. Tybor would have gone off to Harbin's house, I believe, so he didn't go with y'all, and y'all get to Barthen's Provisions and can head in. And Barthen is there. He's got his two like younger teenage boys that are helping him kind of stock shelves and move sacks of grain and stuff like that. And y'all, somebody said something in chat like, "Here you are. These aren't required" or whatever.
Yes, here you are, sir. These supplies were not required. If you have a second, though, I'd love to purchase a bundle of torches from you.
Sure thing. And he like snaps his finger, and one of the boys like finishes what they're doing and runs off and grabs a handful of torches and brings them back. How many do you need? 5, 10, dozen?
Whatever a gold piece will buy.
You receive 1 gold piece worth of torches. Proceed to read the book at your own time.
I'll also pick up some tools.
That's like
Probably.
a hell of a lot, I think.
Good idea.
I think torches are like copper.
Yeah, they're like,
So, like,
yeah.
I'll give
But
him a good
he'll
tip.
also, there you go. He will yell at he'll loudly
Yeah.
command that the boys like start unloading the cart. Bring Vincent around back and start taking off those crates of the cart there.
You just bought 100 torches.
Yeah.
I'll take 10.
Great.
And
You probably want to keep that cart just to carry all your torches.
I'll take 10 and start to develop a good relationship with Barthen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know if this was about to be one very
a tab.
pyromantic. The dragon uses ice powers. Give me 100 torches.
Well, I'm being forced into it with all these illusions and sparks and fireworks, you know.
Got any napalm that we can buy?
You know?
Don't believe I know that spell, stranger.
The dragon made us very cold, so...
Got it. All right. So
Anyways.
you purchase as many torches as you want and tip him the rest. And the boys start downloading the cart, and they'll take the cart back and store Vincent in the stables kind of over. There's a small stable building next to Barthen's house that's kind of behind this building. And other than that, he's going to ask you, why is it you didn't need the supplies after all? The logging camp, like, doing well with their rationing and don't need them, or?
Well, there's much
Not
lower
exactly.
population at the logging camp than you might have expected.
Yeah.
Population of 1 specifically.
A sudden decrease in population, if you'd put it that way.
Yes, exactly.
I don't want to make light of anything bad that might have happened. I'm guessing you don't mean that everyone finally got tired of Tybor and his cowardice and took off. I'm guessing you mean that something bad happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty bad. Tybor's here now, so... Were
the
you
dog?
tired of his cowardice already?
It didn't really affect me too much. I get my cut from providing the cart and Vincent to take supplies up there. So Harbin always gives me recompense for my time, effort, and supplies. Plus, you know, anyone that heads up that way, any of the adventuring sort, they normally come back with stuff to sell, or they want to buy things before they go. And I can normally either make a bit of coin off of them or get some stuff worth trading when they come back. Whether they choose to go up the coast or if they head out to the hunting lodge, I can normally convince folks to take a drink out to the proprietor of it. And so I make a bit of coin on the back end of that because he likes good drink, and there's not much good drink to be found in the woods, and I happen to have good drink for sale. So
Well,
doesn't hurt at all.
we just so happens that we might be heading off in that direction at some point, so I will make sure to check in with you at some later time.
Sure. I'll probably on the break, I'll go look up what type of liquor it is that the guy who runs the hunting lodge really likes and let you know how much that costs.
Beautiful. Well, Zook, should we head to the inn? Are you tired yourself?
Yeah, I'm a bit tired. I want to make a quick stop at Taimora's temple at the town.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
We'll do Zook at Timora's, and then we're going to jump to Cazador and Longtooth before our break at the top-ish of the hour.
So Zook will approach the temple. It's a kind of small place, right?
Yeah, so it's not actually a building. It's kind of just a shrine that's been built. And if you look at it, you can see that it's actually built with the rocks that make up the crumbling walls that are all the way around town. So somebody has made the effort to pick up those rocks and bring them here and stack them in kind of a semicircle kind of setup so that it starts small but then gets higher all the way in the back. And there's a small shrine, and then there's various like gifts and offerings laid out around the shrine itself.
So Zook will approach the shrine, and he'll look around and close his eyes.
I've been gifted with a lot of good friends recently, and a lot of good luck and fortune. We survived some things many others did not. And I think before this ends, we're going into a lot more danger. I appreciate you looking out for us.
And he'll put 5 gold just in the shrine or in a bowl or anything that's in there.
Sure. There is nothing written into the adventure, but I'm the DM. I can do what I want. Roll a D100 and add 25.
All right. Well,
This is for how much damage you take.
Yep.
Sword hole opens up.
Yep. Sword holes. The rest of this campaign is all sword holes.
so that would be 33 plus 25. That's puts us at 58.
Copy that. I have behind the scenes celestial and divine things happening on account of Zook, but also some extra bonus stuff that may come into play later.
All right. That's it. He sits down and for a couple of minutes and then goes back to Gemma.
All right, let's go find the others.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
I have jumped y'all over to the map. I know the stream is not on the map. It's not super important, but I'm putting all your new quest markers
Peter.
on the map.
Hey, Pete.
We love you, Peter.
Everybody in this
Just
group
keep watching.
loves Peter. Y'all want to do break now, or do you want to knock out Cazador Longtooth and then break?
I'd like to break now. I've had to pee for 30 minutes.
Okay, let's break now, and we will be back shortly. So call it, be back at 10 after the hour.
Roger that.
All right.
As a DM, if that's a tone, if that's a story beat you're trying to nail, you're hoping that the players don't take those characters. And once they find out, oh, well, by the way, we're doing what? Yeah, I'm taking a ranger and picking through it. Or you house rule that stuff to say, okay, guys, I want this to be an interesting element that creates tension. And the only way I could do that is to strip abilities and spells out of the game, feats out of the game. So you guys actually have to struggle to survive.
Or conversely, just sort of massage how they work or something, you know.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, you could get
Because if you're like as the ranger, you have
right back.
favored terrain, right? So it's
Exactly.
like in the forest or in the mountain or whatever it is, you're great. But what happens when you're in the desert or you're in the water or you're in somewhere that you're not comfortable or
Sure. And that goes to the other problem of rangers. Okay, oh, you didn't tell me this was going to be an Arctic campaign. Why did you let me take desert as my favorite terrain, right? It kind of sucks for the ranger character,
Sure,
right? Like I'm trying to be this cool ranger guy, and now I'm not the cool ranger guy.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
It's a different problem. So it's just a very interesting thing that they've kind of pulled the teeth out of what would make exploration dangerous and
Totally
arduous.
agree.
Well, maybe it's not like an always thing, like you're always worrying about survival, but perhaps like survival is the main aspect of this sub arc you've got, or whatever it is.
I mean, you could take D&D if you wanted to and skin it as a post-apocalyptic game, right?
Sure.
And survival is a major beat of
I would
being
love
in a
to play that game.
post-apocalyptic world, right? Just
Yeah,
trying to find safe water to drink, food that's not been irradiated, whatever the case may be. Survival is the game almost.
Yeah, like it's far future where magic has re-emerged or something like this, and now we're
or nuclear fallout. It doesn't have.
Yeah, sure.
You could do it
Yeah.
a lot of ways, but yeah,
Sure.
it's just like that entire avenue of story beat is gone the way they've constructed the framework of the rules. With that,
Whereas we would have wanted that, we would have taken that half orc because we need it for food. Like that's food. Oh, wait a minute. It was a sentient being. Oh crap. What did we do?
Right. Well,
that sounds like the Cazador route.
Well, it's also possible that D&D is not the best system for that kind of game. There are many other systems that would support
No,
that
don't
game.
say that. D&D is the best for everything. I'm kidding. One of the things I hate as a DM is the spell prestidigitation. And
Really?
It's the best one.
The reason I hate it is you're sitting there, you're trying to set the tone, the scene. Like, okay, you guys are going through the swamp. You're bloody. You're covered with mud. And there's always one character who says, oh, no, prestidigitation, clean myself. I'm immune to dirt in your campaign, DM. I don't even
I clean myself and I clean everyone else, so we'll
We're
all clean in that
clean all
swamp.
the time. Head and shoulders commercial, shampoo commercial, shake your head. Right? It was like
because somebody shit my pants.
it's just a spell to ruin tone, right? Like I get it. Players like I don't want to be grungy. Like okay, I'm in the sewers. The second I get out, where it's dry, I clean myself from the sewers, right? It's just like that's tone, right? You're trying to paint a gritty picture, and then there's this cantrip. Like no.
Like everybody trying to clean Rathian.
Tone so tone probably needs to be like really clearly discussed in session 0, I would think.
What?
Well, this kind of goes into your conversation you had the other day, Gregory, about house rules. Like these days, when I do house rules, it's to obtain tone, a targeted tone. I'm not trying to fix the system. I don't think there's any huge mechanical issues. I have little grievances of rangers and certain spells and whatnot, but those are little things.
Yeah.
I house rule for tone. Like this is the feel and the story beats I want to happen in my setting, and I'll house rule in that direction.
Yeah, that's awesome.
See,
It's
now I
definitely
have to
something
figure out
you-
how much of this real good conversation I'm going to include in the video, because they're like, we're back, and I never know whether it's going to be a WoW dungeon conversation or like legit good.
Clip it out and post it as a separate video.
That's your job.
Yeah, you can put all the strings
editing.
together a lot like insider DM talk, between on breaks and whatnot. Something to that effect.
Totes.
All right, Linus, you want to tell everyone that we're back from this?
Ow. Wow.
And we're back. That's how Seal does it. And we're back.
And we are back
Nice.
with the second half of our Dragon of Icespire Peak episode 8 adventure. This is Linus. He's a chunky monkey, and he is embarrassed to be on the internet. So we just had a really fun conversation about setting tone and how the 5e Ranger is like really awesome if you have these exact parameters, or really not if you're the Desert Ranger in an Arctic campaign or an urban campaign or whatever. You're either the perfect character or you're screwed. Make it work. But these intrepid adventurers, as I'm surrounded by floating cat hair, are currently in the town of Fandolin, and they need to decide which of several quests that they need to do. I've thrown them all up on the map so they can see basically where this kind of stuff is, because between Longtooth's experience and just asking around town, plus the help from the Centaur, these are all the places you need to go. You got...
You mean another hour and a half of RP?
I mean, sure, but knock it out. We're gonna make somebody mad. We didn't go to a combat map this entire game.
I think the only RP session scene we had left was Cazador and Longtooth.
Correct.
Well, yeah, we could. Alum wanted to talk with Rathian for sure.
Yeah, the conclusion of that setup.
Let's do Cazador and Longtooth so that the Alum conversation is the closeout, since it was the opening of the before bar scene.
After Cazador joins Longtooth on the porch, she's
And
going
the prospector.
she's gonna look at the prospector and back to Longtooth. Why is he here? Who is this?
The camera will go from Cazador's points of view, and you're looking at the large shape of Longtooth, and then from behind him the prospector leans out to see who's on. So you get the floppy hat, the beard, the single tooth, and everything of the Scooby-Doo around the door frame kind of lean, and he just says, "Shup."
Longtooth will fish out a couple coins for the old prospector. Go get a drink on me, and pats him on the shoulder.
Well, thank you, sir. And he takes his coins, and he stumbles is not quite the right word, but it's definitely not a fully sober, fully able-bodied person.
Got that old man drunk shuffle.
Yep, and into the bar he goes. The two of you are sitting on the porch, and you see Zook approach and is at the shrine. It's 25, 30 feet in front of you, kind of there on the town green, as it were. Carry on.
After a moment of the kind of comfortable silence that Longtooth and Cazador usually share, she is going to say, I have listened to your words, and I appreciate them. You told me I was being reckless, and you were right. I have endeavored to not do that.
That would be appreciated. One less thing I need to worry about.
Are you also troubled by Rathian?
I've known Rathian a while. And I used to think that he was on the run from his church, his temple, his faith. But I was wrong. He's running from himself. And that's a race he cannot win.
He does not know what overcame him. I do not know, certainly. And apparently none of the rest of us do.
I am, as you know, ignorant when it comes to the ways of magic, sorcery, power. But heavy is the lust for power in Rathian. And that is setting his course. I know much about the world, but not these things. I don't know how to help him.
I don't think he's prepared for what he is looking for.
These are things that men and elves and dwarves were not meant to tamper with. How could anyone be prepared? We will have to keep a wary eye out for him. And in the short term, it'll be best that he can keep his mind focused on these violent delights of adventure. he finds comfort and solace in these things. Time will tell.
Then back to comfortable silence.
Immediate camera pan inside. At
Rathian is sitting at the bar when this prospector comes and sits down right next to him.
That's a fish and miss around. He orders a drink, right? You know,
There's a feller on the porch giving out gold for drinks. Sorry, carry on. But this dude is totally just like, and he sits down right next to you.
You guys got to stop right before I'm about to be right. You get Curtis laughing.
Tone.
The real Rathian would need to be brooding in this situation as this guy sits down next to you.
Yeah, I was so tired after work. I was just going to say Rathian was really worn out from the dungeon. Okay. So as we come back inside after their conversation out there, at this point, you, Illum, would notice that the bottle is already basically half gone. And completely non sequitur, breaking this sort of like 20 minutes of silence where we're both just kind of staring at the same point 1,000 yards in the distance. You just sort of like, you feel Rathian like lean your way a little bit in that sort of like drunken leaning over kind of way. I just feel like, you know, I used to be a soldier. You believe it? A knight. Yep.
That actually makes perfect sense. You have a measure of discipline I actually rather admire.
Yeah, that was me, towing the line. Fighting the good fight for, I don't know who. Torm, I guess, but towards the end there, kind of hard to.
Torm, is that a king or something like that?
No, that's the god I used to worship, and then it stopped being worship, and it was more or less the god I used to work for. Yeah.
What type of god is this, Torm?
Only the most righteous and just kind. You know, smite the wicked, send the darkness to the far corners of where it comes from.
Fascinating. But you speak of this.
You've seen some shit, haven't you? Yeah, of course you have. Nobody wears a mask if they haven't. Nobody wears a mask because they're pretty.
Well, I think that, you and I seem to be sharing something in common. That
this drink there.
Well,
he pours it on, slides it over.
Yes, that. And she kind of, takes a nice sip of it. And you notice at this point, the mask is sort of like pushed up. And so the scar, it's not really a scar, but you know what I'm talking about. The marking from the lightning strike. Yes, Lichtenberg markings are very, they're obvious, but they're sort of strangely captivating too. And so she it's, you can see them. She's like, yes, it would seem that while we would both wish to be left alone, or perhaps out of the eye of others, it seems we cannot avoid it.
Yeah.
Well, you are a presence Have you not noticed when you walk into a room, the others can't help but be drawn to your entrance?
I guess I'm just not usually paying attention to that sort of thing.
Rathian, do you know this power, this energy that I wield? It's she looks like deeply into her glass. It's intoxicating. And she sets it down on the bar. I've got to be careful. We've got to be careful.
I assume you're talking about the power I was wielding. It's not so much intoxicating as it is terrifying.
That's the word I was looking for. Indeed. Terrifying.
I used to pray. Can you believe that? Yeah. I used to talk to old Torm up there. And you know what? He would actually listen. And he would come to me when I needed him. And power came.
He probably still does.
No, he doesn't. I don't know what comes when I call on that. I'm reaching to the same place that I did back then when I was good and just and right, doing the God's work. But it's not Torm that answers.
But I don't understand. You came from this is a holy order accurate?
Yeah, well, I guess everybody there was holy, yeah. But we were an order of knights. We were protectors. We fought for the Church of Torm, and we were sworn to defend everything that he upheld and all of the weak other gods that couldn't protect themselves. It was a whole thing.
But I'm confused. What? Well, you know, when I left my family, you know, I'm far from where I began as well. When I left because I was afraid, because I could see that others were afraid. But why did you leave your order?
I'm not sure we know each other well enough to have that conversation yet. And he pushes away from the bar, slaps a couple of coins down.
She kind of nods her head, you know, respectfully. She turns before you like, as you're putting the coins on the bar, she says, "I'm here anytime you wish to talk." And then she'll let you.
You keep this between us, right?
She just looks to you and sort of, again, she just looks to you. I'm not the only one who wears a mask. And then she slides her mask down and turns back to the bar.
And he'll nod at that, understanding your meaning, and make his way upstairs for the night, bringing the bottle with him.
Yeah, I think Illum will similarly like pay for whatever's been drunk at that point, and then go over and sit like sort of as close as she can to where Jamrel is playing. And like
Zook will probably wave at her when she comes nearby and invite her to sit next to him at the table.
So she would go sit and probably you could probably see that there's something on her mind, but she would definitely be cheerful and like chit chat with Zook and just enjoy Jamrel's playing and so forth.
All right. So I did a whole lot of text there. I don't know how much of that everyone caught. But
I'll read it now.
I'll also let you know that there's a macro that you can click for Fandolin Tales, which as you're hanging out in places like this, you basically click the macro and then the module gives you a something that the group overhears while you're sitting in the bar. I clicked it 8 times in a row and 6 of them were Falcon's hunting lodge. So y'all already know about the hunting lodge, but I will take a screenshot because it was hunting lodge. I know. And then I clicked the button and I was like, oh, it didn't do anything. But no, it was just the same text had jumped in the same spot. But the group of you do hear a couple of prospectors, not the same one that Longtooth gave money for a drink, but just at a table nearby. Some of the other folks have kind of moved from over near the bar over closer to where Jamrel's performing. And Alum, I know you have stuff on your mind, but you would hear this if you choose to. Zook, you would hear this, and anyone else who's there would hear that there's a couple of prospectors saying that where the Tribord Trail runs east past Conneberry, there's a set of ruins of like a temple kind of to the south of the town, and the town got sacked by barbarians, but they don't know if the barbarians also found this temple, and they know that was kind of a place where the town would retreat to in times of emergency, and that's where they stashed all their gold if they needed somewhere to run and hide, that they would put all their money in this temple. And it's kind of like that urban legend kind of thing, that there's this lost treasure hidden somewhere in this temple. All the riches from Conneberry when the town evacuated were at this place, but then all the townsfolk got driven off by barbarians, and they don't know if anyone went back to get the treasure.
Interesting.
The group of you have been south of Conneberry and know that there was ruins to some kind of temple or something there. You saw it right before you met the horses and Petunia. So you know that there's a building in the fields just where the hills start south of Conneberry.
Maybe we can stop on the way to Conneberry when we, about to meet the centaur, our centaur friends, and
Something to consider.
That sounds like a wise decision.
we'll talk with the rest of them tomorrow morning. You okay?
Yes, thank you for asking.
All right.
I have a lot on my mind. That's all.
All right.
I'm a little. Well, have any of the others talked with you about the barrow, or what happened in the barrow?
Well, I got the gist of it from hearing you guys talk on the way, but not all of it, not everything.
Yeah.
You want to fill me in?
Well, there's not much to say aside from that. Something seems to be driving Rathian, and I'm not sure it's entirely good for him.
There are many dark things in this world, and his power seems to be somewhat connected to... Maybe. I don't know. We can check it out if you'd like.
Zook, Do you know? When you make your devices,
Yes.
does some god or some power guide you?
Well, I think the thing that's guiding me most is the advice and lessons that I get from my family. It's more of a skill than a gifted power, I suppose. It's something that I had to work a long while before I was able to master. And even then, there's so much to learn still. Yeah. I've never been a good wizard like some of my brothers, but I'm good with tools and things like that, so I can use them to bridge the gaps, if you will.
Do you give thanks to your ancestors?
Sometimes. I sometimes pray to the gnomish gods and the gods of fortune. And yeah, it's a weird world, and a lot of things are happening, and I suppose they know a lot more than we do, right?
Hmm.
It's good to be on the good side.
Well, don't sell yourself short.
Is that a gnome joke?
Ha!
You're good, Alum. You're good.
But it is well meant. You are far smarter than many.
Nah, just saying that. I'm sure everyone around here can do all those things.
No, they can't.
Yeah, well,
You have gifts.
thank you. You too. Very
We
talented with that whole shooting lightning thing. I know it's not entirely something that you developed, but you did learn how to use it and control it, and that's commendable. That's something to be proud of, I think.
I'm learning. Yes. You know, well, it's been a long day. I think
It has been.
I think I need to meditate.
We'll call it off for tonight. I think it will be good for all of us.
Indeed. I will thank my ancestors for guiding me to this place and to you and the others. Illuma's gonna kind of just politely get up and go out and look for Longtooth again, Longtooth and Cazador, expecting that they're gonna go back to the cabin. And if they're not there, if they're not outside the inn, she'll just find her way to the cabin.
I assume that both of them are still on the porch. Longtooth just said he was. Cazador, did you have anywhere else to be? Okay. Illum, you come outside. Cazador and Longtooth are sitting in respectful silence on the porch. And the trio of you notice something a little bit odd. Coming from the south, the road that goes right in front of the inn is the road into town. But coming from the south instead of from the Tribord Trail, a man on a riding horse, and he's got like a cloak that's pulled up over his shoulders, and he's got a hood on, and he pulls up kind of in front of the inn, and he drops the hood, and he turns to the group of y'all, and he simply asks, is there anywhere around here that one could pick up supplies, foodstuffs, and typical gear?
Illum points up towards the oh gosh, I forget the name. Dang it. Barthens, thank you. Yeah, she points up to Barthens. Barthens, just up the road.
he gives you one of the like respectful like bow of the head and the like 2-finger salute off the corner of the eyebrow, and him and his horse.
Does he look like a soldier or a traveler or
Give me
merchant?
Give me a perception check. Like you can see him, but I want to see how much detail you pick up.
Sure. 14.
Okay. Enough to tell that he's not like a merchant. He's not very blatantly wearing any kind of insignia or anything. He looks more like maybe another adventurer or something. He's got the cloak over it, so you can't see what he's wearing, but he very pointedly has a cloak drawn tight around him. He had the hood up while he was riding up until he turned to talk to the group of y'all. Y'all would be to his right, so he dropped the hood and turned to talk to you. And then he leaves the hood down as he starts to move away. But
as he starts to move away, Longtooth just says, "It's late, neighbor. He'll be closed until morning. If you're looking for a place to stay, this is the inn."
Well, I certainly appreciate the information. And he'll kind of take the horse a couple of steps further, and then he'll start to dismount and stuff like that. But he's pointedly removed himself from the conversation unless y'all continue to talk at him. But human man, dark cloak, hood, brown riding horse.
Once he goes inside, I look at the horse, more specifically the horse's brand. Because I imagine Longtooth is familiar with the horses in the region, seeing
Sure.
this is his backyard.
Let me see if it actually says anything about that. And I'll get right back to you if Loom wants to start with whatever conversation she
Nope.
has.
She goes out and just sits down without a word.
All right.
Join the silence.
Yep.
It's one of those scenes where like you all know that nothing need to be said. Let me see if this horse actually has a brand though. I know it's got a name, unlike somebody.
I would be surprised if the dungeon wrote down the information about the brand on the horse. I'd be
Yeah, right.
surprised.
That would be awesome.
I'm just thinking like a ranger here, right? Like,
I think the only thing Alum would do would be when she goes out, she would probably sit down with just sort of like a satisfied sigh, like kind of thing or something.
There's a brand on this horse. It is not one that you recognize. Like it's not one of Big Al Calzorn's horses or something like that. There is a brand, and it's a very it's super in shape. Like this is not a workhorse. This is
it's a war horse.
well. Give me a nature check.
Animal handling?
Sure.
Because I'm proficient in that. 10.
10. Not a war horse, not a pack horse, and not like a working animal, but more lean, riding horse, racing horse, something fast, not something built for strength.
Bar traveler. I need sleep. He grabs skewer and we'll start marching off.
Is that its name?
Yeah, I mean, for the narrative, like Longtooth doesn't talk to his weapon, right? So, but the readers of the story might appreciate it. So.
As that's happening, Alum, the bartender, steps out and he says, hang on, I'm reading. The bartender says, "Here, I got something for you." And he kind of gives you like the calloused like hand pat on the shoulder. He says, "I think this belongs to your friend." And he holds out a pendant on an old chain, and it does that like he lets go of it, and the pendant comes down, and you see the chain, and he hands it, or tries to hand it to Alum.
She'll receive it.
Okay, it's a nice chain with a pendant at the end of it, but it's definitely seen better days. It's older and weathered and tarnished, I guess would be the word there. And it's a pendant of a gauntlet, like a closed fist gauntlet, except there's a huge chunk taken out of it, like it was pierced.
Okay. Awesome. So she'll
Sure.
take it and just do her kind of customary bow, which she just assumes that other people know that means thank you. She doesn't actually say thank you.
He gives you a kind of bow of the head as well, and then he'll look to the three of y'all and drinks. Anyone need anything? Good for the night, and head back inside. And you get a long rest, and you wake up the next morning with that, the morning sunrise song, whose title I forget the name of, and it is a
right.
Yep. Now we're gonna get copyright strike. Had that happen one time because somebody played 5 seconds of the Spanish Fly song because somebody's camera stopped working, so they did the technical difficulties. And no, thanks, cool. New day at Vandalin.
Rain barrel bath, and I'm ready to go.
Cool. Several of y'all went to the inn. Several of y'all went to Longtooth's cabin. But at this point, you have about 6 different directions to go, and you've got 45 minutes to go therein. What do you do?
I relay the information about the temple in case it's when we meet.
The centaur Xanth seemed pretty distressed. Perhaps we should help him out first.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to talk to Illum's old friend. Vera, was it?
Yeah, that was her name.
I pray that she is not involved.
I should not have named this NPC after a Pink Floyd song, because now I always hear it. Every time someone says
Vera!
You guys are awesome.
I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
So,
Whoa.
perhaps...
On the spot for an NPC name. I fell into my comfort zone.
Nice. So perhaps we should investigate this shrine and meet Xanth in Coneyberry.
Shrines, gods. If we must.
Yeah, wherever the hilltop shrine sounded very defensible, so I would imagine it'd be better to take out whatever defense there and then deal with the orcs at the encampment.
What is it we hope to find at the shrine?
Someone said there was treasure.
Wrong
Treasure,
angle to
Treasure like
Cazador.
usable things, weapons.
Well, we're gonna fight orcs.
You're looking for small gold discs.
Oh, the safety of the people in the area.
Well, if we're going, let's go.
Very well.
People and centaurs. Don't want to forget the centaurs.
Without being super meta,
Centaurs are people.
would Longtooth know that the Mountain's Toe gold mine is on the way, that we could potentially bring was it prospector or whatever, whoever was trying
like a
to get
new mining foreman or something?
Sure.
needs
So
escorted out there.
would that take us
doesn't
too
know-
long?
He doesn't know exactly where it is,
Okay.
but remember y'all traveled through that area before and saw tracks of the prospectors and stuff like that. So when you got the quest saying, "Hey, west of here, in these areas," and it's a very crudely drawn map on the quest thing, but Longtooth knows the area well enough to be like, "Oh yeah, that must be where we saw those tracks."
So to be clear, Illum is just making conversation. Like she's really doesn't care at all.
I told Xanth that I would meet him. I am hesitant to take on more tasks that might interfere with my arrival. My
To the
word
north,
means something to me.
Wait, what?
Away.
Yeah, so y'all got like a 3/4 of a day to kind of play with if y'all did something crazy, but escort quest probably not the way to go. Like, again, speaking meta, escort quest and then heading north, probably not the way to go. You could probably swing by the shrine. You could swing back by Butterskull Ranch and talk to Big Al and then like make a day of it. But
I feel like what we'll probably decide to do is definitely like Longtooth suggests. We'll go straight to meet Xanth, and then perhaps swing by the shrine, like loop back around maybe.
Yeah, that shrine's not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I would. Yeah, Alum would definitely agree that we should keep our word and meet Xanth as soon as we can. Since nothing is like pressing on us, that we should definitely do that.
okay. The group of y'all set out, so somebody roll me a d20.
Boom. Quick draw.
You knew it was coming.
Rathian does indeed come trotting up on a horse covered in a blanket. And I'm glad that you had a chance to describe it before I got to it, because otherwise, if you went shopping to try to get a blanket, I was going to give you like some weird grandma halfling farmer's quilt that was like 18,
Crocheted.
yeah, it's like 18 different squares of like an apple orchard and a sunrise, and so
Yes.
I got distracted with all the role play and didn't get to give you the grandma quilt.
It's 3 throw blankets have been sewed together, right? You know?
They happen to have a perfect sized caparison in the exact color he needed in stock at Barthen's.
Got it.
Love it.
Somebody like acquired a horse and had no use for that thing, and so they got rid of it. And he's had it forever, and no one around here is buying that. Like, who would need it? And then you walk in, and he has to like get it off of the top shelf, and it's got like 6 layers of dust in it, and he's got to like, beat it. And he gives it to one of the kids to go hit with like a broom 6 times, and then you are presented with your perfect horse blanket.
Caparison.
Oh yeah, D20. That's what it was. I was gonna go see where that is. You guys head off. I'm gonna go see where the dragon went. I unfortunately closed my dragging tracking spreadsheet.
It is apparently pronounced caparison, according to the internet. It is much less interesting.
Duly noted.
Just let the man be fancy.
I don't mind your
Joe.
Frenchy accent.
You guys can make it to the edge of the forest by before nightfall, in fact. And it takes you a little bit. You get to the edge of the forest and you don't see particular signs of him, and you figure it's probably better to head a little bit east rather than go back west. So you head east along the woods for a little bit, and it's not too long until you meet Xanth. You're looking at maybe like an hour before sunset, and he'll approach and he'll make his presence known instead of sneaking up on Zook this time. He'll
Probably wise.
He'll hail you from the woods and then approach. I trust everything went well in town.
Well enough.
It didn't end up being 5 days before I saw you again, so seems your businesses were tended to, and you're ready to help deal with this orc problem.
Yeah.
Point us in the right direction, and you won't have a problem much longer.
He points east, northeast to be, in fact. I guess timeout as I look at the map. Did y'all want to buy a bottle of booze for the guy at the hunting lodge just before we forget about it?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that.
I'll do that in Discord at some point between sessions, but
Sounds good.
reading the name reminded me. Yeah, he's going to say the orcs are to the northeast, so we can travel along the edge of the forest for speed or travel through the forest for a more direct, quicker route unless we get lost. I'm pretty good in the woods, but this forest is known for kind of turning people around. Plus more chances of orcs, so.
But I suppose if you run into orcs before we get to the mound, we might as well, have less trouble to worry about.
I I like the way you very pragmatic. It's very logical that you would think that anyone we deal with is not someone we have to worry about coming back from patrol.
Yeah.
Orcs are better than dragons.
Oh, yes.
I mean, on the food chain, I'm not sure that's a correct statement, but I get where you're coming from, friend.
So through the forest then.
All right, through the forest. Where did my handout go? You guys are headed to the Circle of Stones. Circle starts with a C for anyone listening who wants to learn their alphabet. Cool.
We're not going to go to the lodge first.
You can. Do you guys want to convince him to go to the hunting lodge? It's on the way. But
I don't know. I just see. Yeah, that's the only reason I asked.
group vote. Hunting lodge?
Is that like another issue that we need to deal with? Is that what we feel like? It's not.
The only information you have about the hunting lodge is it's a safe place to sleep for the night, and the guy likes booze, and so you guys bought him a bottle of booze to like schmooze him up.
I vote for orc bashing.
How? Xanth, Longtooth. How? Do you have an idea how long it will take us to reach this? This location where these orcs are?
Probably a couple days.
Yeah, you're looking at 2.5 days. He'll tell you in character. Assuming we don't get lost or have anything major come up as we travel through the woods, if we skirt around the tributaries of the river, we should be getting there before noon on the third day. If we have luck, then I could see us arriving, especially if we push into the night at all, we could get there by dusk of the second day. I'm more prone, even though time is of the essence, I'm more inclined to arrive on the third day so that we've had a proper rest and aren't trying to camp near their fortification.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Agreed.
Okay. Couple of things are going to happen on your journey. On the first day, you come upon a 60-foot wide forest clearing, in the middle of which is a black, needle-like spire, 40-foot tall pine tree that's been ravaged by fire long, long ago. Its limbs have all burned off. It's literally a black needle in the middle of a clearing. Tied to the dead tree near its base are several ghastly dolls made of twigs bound with black hair.
I'm gonna give that a wide berth.
Zook is curious.
You see it, and anyone that gets close enough can see the figures. They're maybe about this tall, 6-7 inches, and there's just a clump of them tied to this tree.
If Zook starts running towards it, Rathian's gonna like hold his hand out and be like, wait. And then he's gonna use Divine Sense just to make sure nothing supernaturally evil is hanging about.
I do not immediately see anything that would be hit with a Divine Sense.
All right, go ahead.
Zook will go and investigate the dolls.
What are those strange things?
I'm not sure. I think they're some sort of ritualistic dolls, maybe.
How wide is this clearing?
The clearing is like 60-foot diameter, and there's no other real trees in this area. If the ground here actually burned, like the grass has grown back up since, but the tree has remained, and it's a single spike of a tree.
Longtooth is going to walk the perimeter looking for tracks to see if other things come and go to this place.
What a natural 20 for Rathian's religion check.
Give me a survival check. Longtooth, give me an investigation. Zook, standby, religion, Rathian.
7 for survival, 13 investigation.
Thank you for narrating those, especially as I turn these into audio. That's going to be super handy.
I just know when I come back to this, I want to hear it.
When Zook sees that, does anything in this ritual make sense to him? Like, what were they trying to do? What is this? What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of these dolls?
A couple of things going on here. It doesn't necessarily give me DCs for like religion and stuff like that. Rathian, this is not anything that you immediately recognize. You have more of a classically like, these are the gods in the pantheons. This seems like some weird people in the woods praying to dark gods that you wouldn't necessarily know about, or very like
Heathens.
Yeah, very pagan type stuff. Zook, I'm assuming you haven't taken them off the tree yet, but you can see, like I said, they're like maybe 8 to 10 inches tall. Now that you get closer, you realize that there's just a clump of them, so they're bigger than you realized. They look like several small figures, but as you get close, you see that there's about 10 of them, and they're large, and they're maybe 4 inches in diameter. Like it's not just some twigs and like stick arms and legs. Like they actually have a body. Like it's an actual.
What does it appear to be made of? Like sticks and
out of sticks and other stuff. There's some, for lack of a better word, girth to these dolls, but it's twigs, and they're bound around something, and they're tied with black hair.
Interesting.
Like, you can't tell if it's like a rock or
No, it's not a rock.
But it's not just a bundle of sticks. Like they're wrapped around something.
I try to investigate the thing. Get a little closer.
Sure. Do you take any of the dolls off the tree?
No.
This guy. Okay. With your sweet investigation check, we're going to pause there, and we're going to jump to Rathian, who does see a couple of footprints in the area, though it looks like there weren't more than 1 or 2 people, humanoid, barefoot.
Longtooth, presumably.
Sorry, Longtooth. Who else did we have? I took care of Rathian. Anyone else waiting on me for anything? Okay, there is foot traffic that's been here within the last couple of days, and we are going to jump back to Zook, and you're leaning in to get a closer look at these twig dolls, and then you see movement in the doll.
Oh. I take a few steps back.
Nope.
There's movement in the door. I don't like it. I'm just gonna step back. Yeah, let's not get near these things.
Who was
What's
up there
wrong,
with you?
Duke?
What, it was
They
Rathian
moved.
walked up there?
I don't like it when things that don't move.
As you
shouldn't
continue to
move.
stand there, you see it again. It's not like squirming. It's more of like a pulse, like a quick jolt of movement, and then not, and then another quick jolt of movement. It's not like a squirming. Oops, I'm sorry to anyone that had to hear that. Hit the microphone. It's not like a squirming mass of insects or something like that. It's pulsing.
Get out of the way, Zook. Rathian will hop off of his horse and pull his knife out and just rip one open.
Okay. You like cut through all the hairs, and the sticks fall to the side, and the single doll that you cut falls off the tree, and it kind of bursts open, and there is a continually beating animal heart. How much do you know about animals? Give me a nature check.
Apparently a lot.
It's a pig heart, and it is still beating, even though it's not attached to anything.
What is going on?
And
Long tooth.
Yeah, it's just laying there on the ground, and it pulses and pulses and pulses and pulses.
Does a 19 hit the heart?
Oh God.
Yes, it does.
Didn't you learn your lesson last time?
There's a pulse of energy that shoots across the clearing and blasts this blasphemous monstrosity of darkness.
It turns into a lady and she makes you feel bad.
Rathian does a slow kind of over the shoulder look back at Illum like, well, that's going to make it awfully hard to figure out what it was.
You don't in fact get to say that because there's a streak of energy across the clearing and the heart just like explodes and splatters all over the tree and the grass around and stuff like that. And there's like half a second of silence and then the entire ground starts to shimmy and Cazador and Jammerl are at the edge of the clearing. Longtooth, you're at the edge of the clearing, but Illum, would you say you were in the clearing at all, Illum? I'm giving you a chance.
Perhaps a few steps in front of Cazador and Jammerl, but not.
Good
she
enough.
was towards the edge.
Good enough. Illum, Rathian, and Zook, the ground around you burst forth and a bunch of black roots like spike up out of the ground and try to grab at all of you. And I need you to make dexterity saving throws as like spindly, charred black roots, almost like fingers, burst out of the ground all around you and grasp at you.
10 for Rathian, 23 Zook. Zook's
Not bad.
good.
Yeah.
Zook
Was
rolls out of
Longtooth in there? Longtooth's on the edge,
Longtooth
right?
was following tracks at the edge of the clearing.
Okay. Did you want me to make one?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right.
If you're close enough to zap a pig's heart laying on the ground, you're close enough to be part of the fun.
Sure. Well, I think my range is 60, but that's okay.
It's more of a like being able to clearly see your
20.
target.
Yeah, no, that's fine. 20.
All right. So you jerks skedaddle out of the way real quick, and old Krusty Rathian gets completely wrapped up in these roots, and you are going to take 2d4 bludgeoning damage. I'll let you roll the damage. 2d4 bludgeoning damage and are now restrained.
And then he falls into the sword hole.
Right. Rathian got hit by a
Roll
trap?
four.
Say it's not so.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't my fault. So I take 7.
Yeah. And then we're gonna go ahead and roll some initiative just so that I know. We'll just do it in my head here. You are restrained, and we're in pseudo initiative here. And at the end of each of your turns, you can try to break out of the roots. But each turn, people get to take an action and try to help you or stand back and watch or whatever. So everyone has pseudo turns. The order is not super important, but you take 11 damages. It was actually only
It's only 7.
so you take that damage, and it is everybody else's turn, and it will come back around to you.
I'm sorry that that thing was disturbing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that you're also like 6 inches off the ground, like in the air from these roots.
So the last time you did that, you had a real moral conundrum.
Illumina is running towards
And
Rat.
now you're trying to kill us. You want to kill us next time before you pull that shit?
Zook will also try to help Rathian like by cutting the roots.
Are
Yeah.
the roots still animated? Are they still grasping in general? Or
They're not actively grabbing at anyone. They like spiked up out of the ground, and then they fixed in their new position basically. So there are still several spikes around where Zook was, where Illum was, and they're just tree roots. They're not waving around or anything crazy, but they're now spikes of tree roots, and then Rathian is like suspended in a clump of them. Zook, you are slashing at some tree roots. Do you
Yeah,
have
Illumina is running towards Rathian too.
Do you have a bladed weapon?
No.
What you got?
But, I can try to thunder wave some of them out of the way,
Okay.
Please don't.
but I wouldn't do that. I'll just try to.
Problem solver, that one.
Yep. Well,
Longtooth is going to pick his way through the roots over to where Rathian is, and as he's doing so, he's fishing out his tomahawk.
Got it. Mr. Puddins is in the chat. What's up, buddy?
Hey.
Alum is
yeah.
just pulling her dagger for the same reason, just trying to help pull the roots off. And
Anyone attempting to pull him out of the roots needs to make an athletics check. Anyone attempting to chop him out of the roots needs to make an attack roll.
I'll heal him instead. I'll heal you.
Okay.
I wiggle pathetically.
I was gonna say General sees Zook run up and just takes his dagger from his side and tosses it over to Zook, and then he's gonna help try and pull whoever's
Okay.
pulling.
So Rathian wiggles, not much happens. You get healed 8, so you're back at full health.
Alum pokes
sounds done.
through some roots. 19 to hit.
That's going to hit. I believe Rathian takes more damage at the start of his turn since he failed. But let me double check. Yep, roll me 2 more d4 there, sir. Alum, you do 4 piercing damage to the roots and don't seem to be making too much headway. Can you do slashing damage with a dagger? Not trying to like feed y'all the answer, but
I mean, technically, you could in real life.
You can sit there and saw it.
Yeah, it's
you're sawing with your like knife and not getting too far, and then Longtooth comes up and just literally hacks through like 4 of the roots in one good go, and
Sure.
Rathian like thuds to the ground. After
My man.
he took, in fact, yeah, I'll let y'all decide which order the extra damage and the healing went, so that you can get that 1 extra healing if you want.
Nah, I'm good.
Cool. Well, there you are. That happened.
It just picks himself up off the ground, sort of knocks the roots off, and just glares at Alum for a second before turning back around and cutting another heart out and holding it for Longtooth.
There's a still beating pig heart in Rathian's hand, and there are 8 more weird idol things strapped to this tree.
I'm sorry for acting rashly, but these are foul things. We should destroy them.
Longtooth recoils from the beating heart because that's not natural, right?
Yeah, Alum is pretty much the same way. Like, she's freaking out a little bit.
Because you know how much Longtooth loves magic. So he's going to back his way out of this clearing, and he kind of gestures his friends to follow.
Yeah. Alum is, like, seriously right there with him. Like, literally, there's, like, crackling energy ready to blast from her hands.
If you zap this one, I'm taking your fingers.
Once he's out of the clearing, so these orcs, these half orcs, Vera, this is a pig's heart or a boar's heart. Do you think that this doll plus the boar's heart, pig's heart is what allows them to transform into such creatures?
Would I know anything like that? Is that a magic that I might have heard of?
This actually sounds like Cazador's wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird and tribal, but I don't know if I have anything specifically to roll that would help with this.
Does your tribe specifically do any like animal heart gain their power kind of?
Specifically, no.
Okay.
Similar, maybe.
Out of nowhere, there's going to be a comment from the centaur that we all forgot is standing there with you, and he's going to say it's definitely something that would fall under the realm of dark magic, being able to fuel unlife and steal from nature to empower oneself.
You should know something else. on the side of the clearing over there, I saw footprints barefoot. And yes, I know, Cazador, you run around barefoot, but it is not common. I think we should destroy these things, but I think a battle will be coming. We are destroying someone's dark work, but it should still be done.
Well, I have just a thing for that. Step
Right.
back.
Just nods and tosses the heart to the base of the tree stump and gets out of the way.
Where is everybody standing?
Well,
Far
we're
enough
getting back.
away.
Back.
Yep,
far as we
as far as we can.
Okay, so we're going to have a really interesting scene here while everyone gets out of the clearing and stands at least 60 foot away past the tree line, I'm assuming. And then Zook, you are doing what?
I'm taking one of the beads and I'm throwing it at the center.
Yeah, as soon as everyone was clear, probably Illum would just start throwing Eldritch Blasts too. Like, she wouldn't wait. Or she wouldn't she wouldn't realize what Zook's about to do, I think, and just is like just not having this.
We're going to have a really interesting scene where everyone has made it to the trees and Zook like performs the OSHA safety check to make sure that
Right.
everyone is
Because,
met their standoff distance, and he very carefully removes the bead to make sure that he doesn't like drop it and engulf you all in a fireball.
No, it's not
As-
carefully. It's Zook. He's just like,
Yeah, like
he's-
pulling a grenade.
He pulls the necklace out, but in the meantime, freaking Eldritch Blast lady over here has already popped off one or two before Zook's like, oh shit, gotta catch up, and whoosh. And so we get like a solid good Eldritch Blast in there, and then the bead in the air, but an Eldritch Blast streaks past it and hits another heart. And so the scene we have is like a bunch of roots come up. They don't seem to know where to go, but they just spike into the air, and then the fireball hits, and then there's just like probably 70 or more roots that just spike into the air. Like they're not grasping for anything. They're just like Sonic the Hedgehog spikes, and then kind of wither their way back down into the earth. And there's this like weird hissing and crackling noise as all the twigs pop and burn, and there, there's little embers that cascade through the air, and it's a quick flash of fire and then gone, but you still get those little pieces of bark and wood that float on the air and slowly burn up.
ash and cinders.
Yeah.
Longtooth, where were those tracks coming from?
He points at the scorched earth over to the side.
Well, we could assume that they're going to come investigate this using that same path. We can circle around and ambush them.
These, maybe. These strike me as people that are comfortable in the forest and woods. They have lore.
Sorry, the centaur is going to say, I completely agree. The orcs may be new, but the spellcasters have been here for some time.
I don't think they're going to take a game trail. They'll be tracking us as much as I'm tracking them. It will be a battle of skills to see who finds the other first.
Then we should remain on guard.
Always. So I think, Seal, the general idea here is that Longtooth is going to try and track the individuals that were these barefoot tracks that were coming in and out of this clearing. See if you can find where, who they belong to.
Sure. You already knew where they were, so I'll let you start out on them. Let me measure on the map here to see how much further y'all could get. You could
Zook
probably
is
get
just so happy about the explosion. Just saying, just putting it out there.
It was pretty great. You're pretty sure you sent at least one pig heart into orbit before it
Yeah, I mean, when that happened, like the camera probably flashed along to for a second, and he put his hand on his neck because he was wearing that necklace at one time, thinking about all that fire he was wearing around his head. It's nonsense.
Magic.
Magic nonsense. That exploded.
That's awesome.
Explosions.
stuff like spews everywhere. We have that scene of stuff spewing everywhere, and then the camera like swings around and you see that like flash of light, and then the warmth across Longtooth as he does that, like, oh
Yeah,
man.
Longtooth is sort of like looking a little concerned while Zook is sitting there like, yeah, just grinning. Love it.
So the group of y'all turn to start to follow these footprints into the woods, and we're gonna get the like camera scene of the camera's low to the ground watching you as you head northeast into the woods, and a smoking pig heart just like slaps onto the ground all sickeningly and like smolders, and then it does like a half a beat, and then it will wipe to the next scene. Chat is making comments that we've never seen a loom use a subclass ability, and they're talking about your possible patron. And so, as a reminder, I think you've already let the stream know that you are using a new. I'll let you give the spiel.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple things. I mean, they're very much appropriate for like combat and such. I'm not sure exactly what they're necessarily be referring to. Some class ability.
Just that we haven't seen you pop off like an Archfey or whatnot, because you're using, what is it, RPG Kitchen?
Yeah, exactly. So the energy being is the patron.
He's a caffeine warlock. He doesn't have to sleep.
Basically. Yeah,
Well,
my character's... No, you're good.
She does not have to sleep because she's all coked out on lightning.
Pretty much. That's a good way to describe it.
You guys travel for the rest of the day?
Unnatural energy courses through her at all times.
Just like me. You guys travel for the rest of the day following these orc footprints, and you're right. They follow game trails for a little bit, but they very much move with purpose, and they know when to leave the game trails and stuff to avoid areas where they're going to run into wild animals or hunters and stuff like that, because obviously where wild animals would be, hunters would be, and unlike a certain half orc y'all know, they're not want to just randomly stand in the middle of dirt roads and wait on things to happen. Right. But you reach the end of your travel day, and the sun is beginning to set, and it actually gets dark just a little bit quicker here because you're actually in and amongst the trees instead of out on the grasslands. So you can find a spot to set up camp. Is there anything special that y'all want to do?
I will put an alarm around us.
Okay.
Focus alarm.
Okay.
Just sending a bunch of fireflies on patrol.
So, yeah, given the fact that we're kind of operating under the idea that it's now hostile territory, Longtooth will kind of take a look at where they're camping and what the most obvious means of access to the camp would be. And along those paths, he's going to lay down some of his, he's a trapper, right? He's going to lay down some animal traps that might trip up anybody trying to sneak up on us in the dark of the night.
Sure. Somebody give me a D100 just for funsies. Dude, you got that like 55 to 65 category on lock, no matter what we're doing.
That's right.
Okay. You guys break camp the next morning and can head further into the forest. And unless anyone has anything, I have more box text. Any morning actions? Any preparations?
The only thing that I would add is that because of the context that we find ourselves in, any kind of chit chat that starts to happen, Longtooth shuts down immediately, right? Because he needs to be able to hear through the forest for the people he's tracking, and we don't want to give alert to our approach.
Sure.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Rather than doing something notable, Jamrel does something not notable by not playing.
Which is notable in and of itself.
Which is in and of itself notable.
Yeah.
Got it. 2 people in the group, stealth checks. You guys can pick your poison, but I'm not going to let you get away with just one person, so I need 2 stealth checks from the group. All right.
Well, I'm actually +4 on stealth, so that'd be 20. I just clicked the wrong thing.
All right. They're both S words. I'll give you that one.
It's tiny. These character sheets have tiny little words on them.
Get a 40-inch TV like I got. You can read all the things. So you move through the woods for the better part of half a day, and like lunchtime comes and goes. Do you guys stop for lunch at all, or is this like eat a cracker on the road?
Eat a cracker on the road.
All right, so everyone's eating their trail rations
Beef
and
jerky.
beef jerky and stuff. And as you get deeper into the forest, y'all said y'all were skirting the hunting lodge. So you're on the map. You're right there between the hunting lodge and the woodland manse, and it's starting to get more hilly, and that's why the forks of the Neverwinter River kind of start at this point. Is all the waters.
Are we still following the tracks? Do we still have the trail?
Give me another survival check.
I can assist with that. I am also proficient.
Yes.
Okay.
Not that it helps.
Good enough. It was a 10.
12.
We're gonna have a cool outro scene here, so I must warn you that things are winding down here, because as you make your way across some uneven ground, you come to an area where it kind of starts to rise to a ridge, and you get up, and as you are given this new like vantage point, you look out and across. And Longtooth, you were the first one to see this, but it's something that everyone can see because they're not being stealthy at all. You see the forms of several hulking orcs as they're ascending a similar ridge, and you come to these like two high points basically at kind of the same time. And there's a 60-foot wide, 10-foot deep kind of wash. Like it's not a river right now, but during the wet season, you imagine that like water comes through here, and you find the group of y'all on one like low rolling hill, and a group of there is a half orc and several full orcs that stomp up to the top of this other group, and there's like a female, and she's got, you know, they're 60 feet away, but you can still see that she's got war paint on her face, and she just lets out this like brutal, like guttural roar, and all the orcs roar behind her, and that's where we're going to end this session.
I hold a spirit and challenge, and that's where we end the session.
we got the like Braveheart, like, rah! And then bam, end of session.
Depends on the initiative. This might be a very quick fight.
I forget how many it is. It's one of the, there's a bunch of this like per the number of characters and per the level that they are in this thing. So I normally skip past the point where it's like, there is a number of orcs equal to 2 times the, let's see here.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's not enough.
The freaking Butterskull Ranch, it's like 3 orcs for each party member. And I'm like, how am I going to fit 18 orcs into this house? And I in fact ended up deleting several orcs because like y'all were just piling them up, and I was like, all right, Cazador's killed 4.
Chopping wood.
Rathian and Longtooth have like a 5 pile.
It's like those old Frazetta scene, you know, pictures with Conan on a mountain of bodies.
Yep.
He just piling up.
Yup.
That was so good. We had like a production line of orc murder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Step right up. You're next.
So there is a female orc. She is in like furs and like very leather, like they made it themselves, kind of rough clothing. And there are 12 orcs with her.
Oh yeah, easy peasy.
Half
This
orc.
sounds like Orcador here. Orc Cazador.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's definitely Orc Cazador and her 12 closest best friends, and they're all screaming in full on rage mode at you. And Cazador leads Longtooth leads the scream back, so the rest of y'all can decide who joins the scream and is who like, wait, what? But that's where we're going to end.
Valerie. I was thinking. I was going to say something,
Valador?
Valerie. Valerie, you better kill them with their own gauntlet claw fists.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
There you go.
So we're going to start with an initiative roll next time. I won't make y'all roll it now.
So next time we're actually going to get into a fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
That way I can say that y'all only fought pig hearts this session. Pig hearts and roots.
Yep.
I had a good time.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
You're welcome, internet.
Hey, that was tons of good roleplay. So
Yeah,
fun
heck
stuff.
yes.
I even used the map scene like twice.
Peter.
They'll be thankful.
This is a very interactive stream, as we're figuring out. People can come into the comments on YouTube and tell us what they like and don't like, and we can apparently completely disregard it. I don't like that you got pronouns on your overlay.
I don't like that you guys have faces.
I forgot about
too
that
many faces.
I'm
guy
leaving
that
this
came
in the
in here
video.
get
Our
away from
complaints so
politics.
far are like, I don't want to see people's faces when they're role playing. Y'all role play too much. You're too inclusive. What's with all these pronouns on the overlay? And yeah, I don't know if
You
my
know,
group would be.
If people watch and they give comments, I just appreciate the fact that someone's watching. So that's awesome.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's still interaction for the video.
Still traffic.
And here's all the beautiful F's we give about those comments.
We're being very sarcastic jerks at the moment, but there is actually a couple of comments that have showed up on YouTube where we're like, you make a great point. I'll try to be better about that. And
Yeah,
like,
there been some good
we're
comments.
harshing Peter's mellows, but at the same time, there has legitimately been times where I forgot to change to the battle map mode.
In that regard, Peter is right.
Yeah.
I really hope
because-
Peter keeps watching so that we just blow his mind by constantly talking to him directly.
The question is, what would Peter do?
I can't spin my camera around how it's mounted and stuff like that, but I have everyone in the Zoom call over on this screen, and I got all my notes and stuff over on this screen, and then I have Roll20 and all my token management on this screen, so I cannot actually see OBS unless I give up something. So like I can see it right now, so I can see Twitch chat and stuff, but there's times where I'm reading the descriptor because I didn't know where these assholes were going to go because they had 6 directions to go.
Assholes. I feel attacked.
I didn't say everyone. I feel like this group has done some very assholist thing in about the last 12 hours.
Yeah, and the last 34 years of my life, so you were pretty accurate.
Fair,
But
fair
it
point.
is 9:30. I'm gonna get out of here and go rescue the wife.
Don't you have to pimp Roll20 before you go?
I gave up and I just keep putting the same 45-second like thank you Roll20
Nice.
thing on the beginning of all the
On the
videos,
YouTubes.
so-
Smart.
Love it. Good stuff.
But yes, thank you Roll20 for sponsoring us as we should talk Peter.
Good night, Peter.
We love you, Peter.
I hope you dream of our faces.
Thanks, guys. It's been fun. Way more fun than I was expected. I didn't know where y'all were going to end up, whether y'all were going to like start escort quests or go punch orcs or...
The answer is we were going to go
That's
nowhere.
next time. We'll plunge plenty of orcs next time.
Apparently we're closing out on like extreme... I don't know if I can do it.
Oh my gosh.
Nope, can't reach.
Are we done yet?
Yeah, we're done. Bye, guys.
Counteract that.
Thank you. See you next